When thinking of Paris, it's easy to imagine rigid itineraries and endless queues. But we arrived with absolutely no plan at all. We came here on a budget, completely open to wherever the streets decided to take us, starting with the classic views. Standing up here at Sacré-Cœur, the goal wasn't to just check landmarks off a list, but to see where the day would lead. Over the next 48 hours, we're combining the big sights with the hidden corners, wandering into places like the Quartier Asiatique, and proving that the best way to experience Paris is to just let it happen. The journey starts at Manchester Piccadilly, catching the Transpennine Express over to the airport. It's just a 19-minute hop for just over £5, and that's when the excitement kicks in because we're officially on our way. We're settled into our seats for the 6 AM Air France flight out of Terminal 2. It's a quick flight over to Charles de Gaulle, landing just after 8:30, and the thought of finally being in the air makes the early start worth it. After landing, we take the RER B train, transferring to the RER A at Châtelet-Les Halles for €14 each. We use the Bonjour RATP app for our Navigo tickets, but soon you'll be able to just tap on with a contactless card across the Paris region. With time to kill before our 3 PM hotel check-in, we head straight out of the station at Charles de Gaulle Étoile to stand right under the Arc de Triomphe. Honestly, the Arc de Triomphe never looked particularly impressive in photos, but seeing it in person is completely different. It's absolutely massive and feels incredibly grand when you're standing across the road from it. Perfect spot to kick off the weekend. I used to think you had to risk crossing the crazy road to get to it, but there's actually an underpass that takes you straight underneath the traffic. Stupid, I know. It's somewhat busy today, but it doesn't feel crowded at all because the area directly under the arch is actually huge. You can really appreciate the intricate details carved into the stone, from the names of the generals to the historic battles, all surrounding the tomb of the unknown soldier. Looking up from underneath gives you a completely different perspective on just how massive it truly is. Leaving the arch behind, we head off with no real direction in mind, aimlessly wandering to see what we can find.
Le vent dessine un nouveau matin, des couleurs glissent entre nos...
Before we know it, we stumble past the Grand Palais and the Petit Palais. They were both built for the 1900 World's Fair to showcase French art and architecture. And that massive glass roof on the Grand Palais is just incredible to see up close. It's the perfect route by accident, leading us straight onto Pont Alexandre III. This was also built for the World's Fair to celebrate the alliance between France and Russia. With all its gold ornaments and cherubs, it's easily one of the most beautiful bridges in the city. We continue heading down towards Place de la Concorde, but what should be a 10-minute walk takes us quite a bit longer because we keep stopping to admire the views of the Seine along the way. Eventually, we make it to the square, which is dominated by the incredible Obélisque de Luxor. This massive stone pillar is actually over 3,000 years old and was a gift from Egypt to France in the 19th century, marking the oldest monument in the entire city. From the obelisk, we head straight into the Jardin des Tuileries, passing through the gates into the formal gardens. Because it's February, everything's pretty much dead and stripped back, but walking down the central avenue without the usual summer crowds still has its own unique charm. If you're enjoying the trip so far, please take a second to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's completely free, but it really helps me out and allows me to keep making more travel content like this for you.
Chaque souffle écrit l'histoire d'un lendemain rempli d'espoir.
Walking out of the gardens brings us straight to the famous Louvre pyramid. Whilst you can't see it well on camera, the queue to get inside was absolutely massive. my dad isn't particularly big on art anyway, so we decide to skip the long lines entirely and head back down to the banks of the Seine for a much more relaxing stroll. Had to get a quick sneaky pic though. Walking along the river brings us out right in front of the legendary Notre Dame Cathedral. Following the fire in 2019, the cathedral underwent a 5-year restoration project, which finally saw it reopen to the public in December 2024. Next, we head over to the Quartier Asiatique. Originally a Vietnamese quarter, it has become much more diverse since the 1980s, and you still hear an amazing mix of Vietnamese, Teochew, and Cantonese spoken here. Since it's春节, Tết, we spot line dancers performing outside shops and grab a quick banh mi. I didn't get much footage, but we spent ages exploring the bakeries and people watching in them. The next morning begins fresh, as I didn't film the rest of the evening, which we spent chilling and exploring the suburbs around La Défense where we were staying. Before heading out, we grabbed some local pastries, which are absolutely heavenly and cost just €1.10. Fueled up for another day of sightseeing, we jump straight onto the metro and head over to Trocadero station. Reaching Place du Trocadero gives us that classic view of the monument that needs no introduction. In a second, we're going to cross the Pont d'Iéna over the Seine to get a proper up-close look at the Eiffel Tower. When we get to the bridge and the base, you'll see the Olympic rings left over from the Paris 2024 Games. The city actually had to remove the original massive rings from the tower itself after pushback from Gustave Eiffel's descendants, who wanted to protect the original design. Up close, the tower has been going through a lot of maintenance recently. There were leaked reports a few years back claiming the iron was riddled with rust, but it's since been undergoing a massive €80 million restoration project. They're currently stripping away decades of old paint to treat the metal and apply its 20th fresh coat, proving the Iron Lady still has plenty of life left in her. Next up is Sacré-Cœur in Montmartre. Before climbing the steps to the top, we duck into a nearby carrefour to grab a fresh baguette and some snacks for lunch. We find a bench at the bottom of the hill to eat and do some people watching. As we're sitting here, we notice a group of guys placing woven wristbands onto unsuspecting tourists and then demanding money for them. It's a classic Paris scam, though you almost have to respect the hustle, but it's definitely something to watch out for when you visit. I recognize the irony of saying this as we sit below Sacré-Cœur. But beyond the famous landmarks, a lot of the charm of Paris is just the simple stuff, like having a cheap baguette on a bench and watching the world go by. With lunch finished, we finally start the climb up the stairs towards the Basilica. It's quite a few steps to get to the top, but if you want to skip the climb or can't handle the stairs, there's a funicular railway right next to them. The ride takes less than 90 seconds, operates daily from 6 AM to 12:45 AM, and costs €2.50. Now, you've got to turn around and look at the view. It stretches right across the Paris rooftops, and you can see the entire city laid out in front of you. Here's a final look at the Basilica from the outside. I didn't take any footage indoors as I wanted to be respectful of the space. I can say it's absolutely beautiful though. Right outside, the area is packed with vendors selling all the usual tourist trinkets. It seemed like cheap junk, so let's pass on this. We actually spent the rest of our evening checking out local shops, eating dinner, and looking at street art. There wasn't much to show on camera, but it was still a relaxing way to finish up this trip. That brings us onto the Gival to take us to a terminal and marks the end of our trip. It's been a brilliant weekend exploring Paris, and I already hope to be back again soon. Thank you so much for watching, friends. I really appreciate you tagging along on this journey, and I'll see you all in the next video.